Aliana, we can start. Yes.
Good evening, Bhante. Yes, sure, we start now. Good evening, Bhante and all Kalyana Mitra Namo Buddhaya and Sukhi Hontu. I'm Aliana and welcome to Ti-Ratana Vihara Friday Sutta discussion by Bhante Dr. Ganggo Dawila Chandima. Today is the day 156 of this series of Sutta discussion, the 8th class of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, with topic Vedanānupassanā, or the 9 ways of attending to the nature of feeling, the exercise number 7 till 15 in Satipaṭṭhāna practices. Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is the 15th sutta that have been chosen by Bhante Chandima for this sutta discussion. In previous classes, Bhante has discussed about Manggala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, Metta Sutta, Sigalawada Sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Sabbasava Sutta, Patākamma Sutta, Pattama Samajivi Sutta, Alawaka Sutta, Dajaga Sutta, Girimananda Sutta, Chulakamma Vibhanga Sutta, Chunda Sutta, and Digajanu Sutta, which Bhante has elaborated those sutta in depth. For those who have missed our previous classes, please check on Ti-Ratana Vihara Amapadana Clan YouTube channel. We have uploaded the previous classes there. We are always welcoming newcomers, therefore please share around about this class to other friends and family members so that whoever that wished to join the class via Zoom where we can engage directly with Bhante can contact the Vihara administrator, or you can join the class from Ti-Ratana Vihara Facebook channel where we broadcast the Sutta class live on every Friday evening from 8:30 till 10 p.m. Kuala Lumpur time. Now let me introduce to you about our speaker Bhante Dr. Ganggo Dawila Chandima, who is the Associate Editor to the Journal of International Buddhist Studies, or JIBS, which is published by Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya University in Thailand. Bhante was previously a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Societies, or CSRS, at University of Victoria, Canada. Bhante Dr. Chandima was also the Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada, from year 2012 to 2016. Recently, Bhante Chandima has joined Ateneo de Manila University in the Philippines as Assistant Professor of Buddhist Philosophy. Bhante is also the Senior Advisor to Patisotta, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussion, Dhamma talk, and a variety of other Dhamma activities. His Dhamma work can be accessed at www.patisotta.blogspot.com, and we also can follow Bhante at Patisotta Facebook account. Without further ado, we welcome once again Bhante, and as always, thank you very much for the wonderful guidance and teaching. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aliana, for that introduction. And good evening, Dhamma friends. Let us start our Sutta discussion by paying respect to the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Once again, good evening, Dhamma friends who are with us for the Friday Sutta discussion hosted by Ti-Ratana Buddhist Vihara clan. If you can remember, we were able to finish all the 6 Kayanupassana practices by last Friday, and at the same time I was reminding you that from next Friday, that means today, we will be going over the Vedanānupassanā practices. So our topic is going to be how to understand the Vedanānupassanā part in our life. So in this, before I go to this discussion, I want to I want you to see again the presentation I did some time ago, just to have an overview about the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's practices, right? So Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta comes under right mindfulness, and we understood that Buddhism talks about two things. Meditation means bhavana, and the outcome of meditation is sati, mindfulness, right mindfulness. And then when we discuss about right mindfulness, we will go to the Noble Eightfold Path. You can see it from here. What I can do here is, otherwise you will be looking at this. I'm going to perhaps maybe I upload it here. You want to see it on your site. And then we are going to pick up right mindfulness. Right mindfulness. Okay, here. Samasati, right mindfulness. So now Kayanupassana 6 practices have been discussed already. And then we are now coming to Vedanānupassanā. So Vedanānupassanā has 9 exercises. But the good thing is that we are going to discuss all these 9 Satipaṭṭhāna exercises about Vedana in one day, because we can learn those slight differences with regard to feeling. And after that, that means next week, depending on our situation, we're going into Citta-Nupassana, 16 Satipaṭṭhāna practices about the thoughts, and finally 5 Satipaṭṭhāna practices about Dhamma. So this is the plan to cover the 36 Satipaṭṭhāna exercises. It's over here. You can see here. This is good. Happy feeling, unhappy feeling, neutral feeling. I use defile. We can say happy feeling with regard to material things, happy feeling with regard to things that are about renunciation, unhappy feelings about material things, unhappy feelings with regard to renunciation, happy feeling, neutral feeling with regard to material things, and neutral feeling with regard to renunciation, right? This is how we need to understand this part. Okay, so if you cannot see it again, I will share in the group after the discussion today or tomorrow. But if you are so excited, I already sent it in the chat box. You can open up. But before that, can we discuss about Vedana first? Vedana, I could say, is the most important Dhamma teaching when it comes to tackling akusala and kusala. Right? That's the very important thing to learn here. Normally, when I would tell you a popular idea, which many Buddhists might have in their life with regard to overcoming akusalas, most of them think that it is only by understanding one's thought structures, chittas, or maybe being mindful about one's own mind or thoughts, one can overcome akusalas, unwholesome. Or maybe if one can understand more about kusala thoughts, it would be easy for them to practice more Dhamma. But when we look at a lot of suttas, including Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, we will come to a little bit slightly different idea about it. The different idea with regard to managing our akusala and kusala is not to pick up that management from the chittas in the first place. Because what we think and what we feel could be two things. I think that difference can be easily understood when we learn about feeling and emotion. Let me ask a question from you. What is the difference between feeling and emotion? A very basic question. Anybody who is very concerned about one's feelings and emotion from morning to evening could give a better answer to this question. What could be the difference between a feeling and an emotion? You could take the secular perspective or the Dhamma perspective.
Bhante, I try. Feeling is a sensation, but the emotion is your reaction. You react to the feeling.
Mhm. Anybody else? You seem having no feelings and emotion, nah? Even now you are having emotions and feelings. Watching this sutta discussion and being in the sutta discussion. Yes.
Bhante, can I
Yes.
try?
Yes.
Maybe my understanding from feeling is pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Emotion will be all the category: anger, fear, anxiety. That's my
Okay.
understanding.
That's your understanding when you look at it, yes. Okay. Any other ways how you understand about the difference between feeling and emotion? You could take it from the secular way or maybe Buddhist way. Feeling,
Bhante,
yeah, let me read this comment. What is that? It went down. Feeling is inevitable, while emotion can be transformed. Okay. This looks to be the frequency, right? Maybe the frequency part, and at the same time, what we can do with regard to feeling and emotion. Yes. And then who else? Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Bhante,
Yes,
can I say the emotions can I mean if later post-canonical they consider it as cetasikas, right? So can I say emotion is part of cetasikas?
emotions are part of
The cetasikas, am I right?
Ekasika. That is the Abhidhamma way of picking it up.
Then feeling is Vedana lah, the three lah. Either 3 or 5 lah.
Okay. Yeah, number of feelings can be can vary. Feelings can be 2, 3, 6, 8, even 108 feelings. Different suttas have given different numbers. I will tell you why. And then we got two other distinguishing factors. Emotional related to psychology. Feeling is related to mind. In our understanding, psychology talks about the mind, right? So both are overlapping now. Anyways, that's how you understand. Emotions can be controlled by practicing techniques, but feelings cannot be controlled. Okay, that is another way to look at it, right? If feelings cannot be controlled, managed, then why do we study Vedanānupassanā? Right? What's the purpose of studying Vedanānupassanā today? But anyway, that is a way to look at it too. I mean, there is a certain face value understanding too. Anybody else? You cannot be feeling less or emotional less, huh? Any other ways to look at feeling and versus emotion? Feeling, okay, it's our timing today. We're going to talk about a lot. Feeling is a subjective experience, right? It's very subjective, right? In the first place, that means the way how we feel about things. And for some of the suttas and texts, even the psychological works, feeling is a raw sensation, right? But when we learn about 9 types of feelings today, given by the Buddha in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, we might think it is going beyond the raw kind of experience about what we sense. But anyway, feeling is a subjective, at the same time, refers to a very much raw experience. When we look at emotion, yes, there are 2 ways to look at it, psychologically and Buddhist Sutta-wise. Psychologically speaking, they are saying these are neurophysiological reactions, right? Because they look at it from a technical, tangible background. They believe that brain has neurochemicals, and then these neurochemicals could show balance, imbalance, variances, changes, different degrees, and only the brain, neuroscientists, by understanding the neuropathology, they will understand how people individually respond through emotions. And in that understanding, in that particular study, or in that particular subject, everything that we show towards situations, other people, maybe frustration, grief, happiness, unhappiness, anger, love, other desires, they all come under emotions. But what is the Buddhist way to look at emotions? Buddhism says emotions are a little bit complex structures. That means when there is an emotion happening, normally emotions are happening towards feelings. So that means emotions are pretty much connected to sanya, the kind of the aggregate that we can relate with regard to emotion is sanya. Why is it? As I go through my own feelings over the course of time, I tend to name the feeling, happy feeling, unhappy feeling, neutral feeling, worldly feeling, feeling about renunciation. And not even me, all of us, we tend to do that, narration, our own narration, our story about the feeling. So that narration, that story itself becomes a sanya later on. And when we look at whole bunch of emotions with regard to what we have been going through, what we are going through, what we will go through in our life, we can see that all those emotions all those emotions in the Buddhist way, perceptions, they have arisen with being conditioned because of our past experiences. So that means emotions, according to the Buddhism, could be more understood under the sanya kanda, right? They are sanya kanda because while Vedana is a subjective raw experience in the first place, but still Vedana can be understood, Vedana can be changed, Vedana can be managed, but when it comes to emotions in the Buddhist thought, it seems to us that they are more messy, complex structures because we have already gone through certain experiences with regard to feeling. Now think about the monkey mind. This is like a very normal English Western understanding. Our mind is like a monkey, right? Now think about what if, long time ago, I heard a story, real story. A monkey went to a house, especially went to the kitchen, and he could find some cookies and some slices of cakes. And on that day, monkey ate those cakes and biscuits, cookies. Ever since, when monkey is going to get into a house, he's only looking for the cakes and biscuits. He doesn't need anything else. He's not picking up pineapples, fruits, anything. Now he had a taste about it. His feeling has turned into an emotion according to Buddhism. So then that means he's keeping an eye on bakeries, pastry shops, houses where there are lots of those stuff in the kitchen, right? I think this is the same thing that will happen to us. When we have an initial feeling, then we are developing Buddhist way of sanya, emotions, with regard to that feeling. Okay, I think that is an interesting way to look at it. Then there is another psychological word that we have to understand: emotion, feeling, and mood, M-O-O-D. Right? I think people use this word quite often in today's world. Right? Today I'm a little bit moody, right? And they are making a statement because things don't happen the way I want. Maybe somebody said something to me. Maybe I'm not good today. I'm not well today, right? So they are trying to show that their mood is not in good condition. Perhaps this could be the overall nature of the feeling at that point that is developed through the emotion, sanya part, right? Okay, this is what we need to understand at the beginning. Then we have to unpack a couple of things before we get to the Vedanānupassanā in Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. May I know, where do you basically understand Vedana? The Buddhism talks about lots of Dhamma concepts about Vedana. What is the basic teaching where you understand feeling with regard to your life?
Paticca Bhante.
Oh, Paticca is a higher level of understanding Vedana. Basically, when we refer to all of us individually, what is the basic, what do you call, the grassroots level of understanding Vedana in our life?
In our life, that means like what I say, the Paticca
No, I'm asking what is the basic Buddhist concept where we understand Vedana?
or Vedana, normally we said basic is 3 types of feeling. Basic.
5 aggregates.
Or
That's
5
it.
aggregates, yeah.
5 aggregates. That is where we basically understand, okay, Vedana exists. Vedana is impermanent. That's a different case. But in order to understand this Vedana in my life, in your life, in anybody's life, we basically tap into Panchakkhanda. All these animals, humans, even non-humans, they carry 5 aggregates, wherein which we understand the second Khanda aggregate is Veda, right? Feeling. So that means, when did we learn about Vedana in our life, willingly or unwillingly? When was the first time we learned about Vedana Khanda? The moment when we were born. Normally when a baby was born, baby starts to, what does baby show? Baby starts to cry. Yeah, that means the first thing that we all went through in our life, the moment we were born out of the womb of the mom, was a feeling. The feeling was, maybe you may not be able to explain that. Something happened. Maybe came out of the mother. That feeling was not, perhaps not a comfortable feeling. Actually, when a baby is not crying, once the baby was born, doctors are going to suspect some issues with regard to the baby, right? That's a normal thing. They are saying, why this baby is not crying? There's something wrong with him or her. right? So that means the first time that we were concerned about the Vedana Kanda, aggregate of feeling, is not now. We even were concerned right after we were born out of the mother, right? And even while were in the mother's womb, we were giving Vedana to our mother, right?
Yes.
How many problems our mothers may have gone through because we were just going here, there, pushing her, right? You know, if
Kicking.
you are a mother, you know how was that experience like, right? So that means the first thing that even a mother went through was the feeling Kanda, Vedana Kanda. The very first feeling that we all went through right after we were born was also Vedana Kanda. Then after 20, 30, 40, 50 years now, we are also talking about Vedana Kanda again. But now we are not talking like that baby level of Vedana Kanda. We want to look at it. So then the first concept where we discuss feeling is Panchakanda. And we understand this Vedana cannot survive alone. Vedana exists with other aggregates. There's Rupa on one side. On the other side, there are feelings, perceptions, karma, and consciousness. They all work together, right? So this is the first basic concept where we understand Panchakanda. Now, may I know what are the other places where yes, I think Sumita already mentioned about Paticcasamuppada. Yes, we do understand. How do we understand Vedana in the Paticcasamuppada? Dependent arising. How to understand that Vedana?
The Vedana, if we are not careful, that's the trigger point that we should be careful. Otherwise, we will have craving, and then it will lead to becoming, to the trigger point to break the link of paticca samuppada is feeling.
Okay. When you look at Paticcasamuppada basically tells us one very important thing. Paticcasamuppada teaches us how did we inherit dukkha, right?
Yes.
How did we inherit dukkha? How did I come to this point of my dukkha in my sansaric life? If you look at it, avijja, then sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya namarupam, namarupam paccaya salayatana, salayatana paccaya passo, passa paccaya vedana. But that vedana is not the daily vedana that we are going through. That Vedana is the existential, sansaric kind of Vedana. Right? That means you have to refer it to all the pains, happiness types, neutrality kind of feelings we went through in the sansaric life. Can you give an example for that? Of being able to obtain a happy life, right? That is a feeling, right? But that feeling is a lifelong feeling. Let's say someone became a snake. Of course, there are a lot of occasions where we understand. Then the whole life, according to how we look at it, could be a source of pain. Someone was able to become a human, good human. Then the most of the feelings that come to that person could be happy feeling if the person is reborn in a better human place. Not everywhere, but in a better place. At the same time, you can refer to any other examples with regard to sansaric life. And then the Buddha is asking us and telling us how to end that dukkha, the sansaric dukkha. Then we have to go reverse, right? To find the loop, find the loop here. How to go back to the reverse way? That means we have to go back to avijja. Why do I have tanha craving? It's because I have Vedana feeling. Why do I have Vedana? It's because I have been going through contact passa, right? So we have to go back, keep going back, and then we will find out what led me to be in samsara this many lifetime. It is due to not knowing the Four Noble Truths, right? That is what make me to be in samsara. So that is the feeling teaching in the Patisamuppada. This is the second place that we have to understand with regard to feeling. Now, there are so many places. We don't have time to talk about all that because of our tiny little time. I just want you to be curious about it. And then now I'm going to say something very interesting. When the Buddha was talking about craving, right? Craving is what takes us to many, many lives. He was always talking about how to stop craving, right? And for the most part, a lot of people take craving only from a sensual, excessive sensual enjoyment point of view only. But the Buddha is saying that if people can be really aware about their feelings, that could be a great way to minimize or get rid of tanha. Only when you go to tanha, you will be only worried about your sensual pleasures, kama pleasures, bhava pleasures, vibhava pleasures. But if you know what led oneself to the tanha, that could be a better way to manage, tackle your sansaric life, also to get rid of tanha, right? That means if we can be aware about our feelings, those 9 feelings which we are going to talk about today, there will be a very good leeway for us to understand how is my tanha going to be built up, right? One of the very important things when we learn about Vedana is that we will know how does tanha start, how does tanha function, right? And in some other suttas, Buddha even asks us to go back, to trace back even the Vedana. He's asking us to look at tanha before even it becomes a Vedana, catch it at the point of passa. Passa means contact. Now then, we need to think about the passa, P-H-A-S-S-A. What do you think about the passa here? Passa means when we are engaging in sensual pleasure experiences, there is a contact arises, not even to the pottabha, to the body, but with every sensual pleasure experience. Think about I'm seeing you now here, my eyes and your side, and then eyes and side make a contact. And when you hear, your ears and then the sound make a contact. And when you eat your food, and your tongue and the food will give you a contact, right? And then the smell, your nose, and then the smell will get together and you will have a contact. And then the Buddha is saying, Vedana is preceded by contact. Right after you have the contact with whatever the sense experience, you will come to Vedana. That means first eyes, maybe sight experience, rupa experience, then contact, then Vedana, then tanha, right? So that means the Buddha is saying, try to be aware about your sense experience. That will help you to manage your Vedana much better. Don't wait until your sense experience becomes a full-fledged Vedana, because then it might be a little difficult for you to act on that particular Vedana at that point. Because when we already perceive the Vedana, we are very much driven by the Vedana. Now think about how serious is the Vedana when you have had a good food from a certain place, right? How much do you feel you want to go back to that place? When you have had a very good experience with someone, how much you need to, how much, what do you call, urgency will you have to go back to that particular person, right? Because at that point, feeling has been emotionally conditioned, and you feel you have to go there. You have to do it. That's why it will be nice to be aware about how do our sense experiences make up the contact, come to the contact. Then this is the most important teaching about feeling. Try to understand your feeling at the point of contact, right? And may I know some other important context of Vedana? Papancha, right? Papancha is another very important. I think it would be one of the another very important areas to understand Vedana. What is Papancha? Papancha.
Proliferation of thoughts.
So, proliferation is one English translation. What is proliferation? This word was normally used by the nuclear sciences. Proliferation. Mind conjuring up stories non-stop. Papancha. Papancha is the
Is it obstacle? Is it Bhante? Is it an obstacle or impediment or delay?
Not exactly. Papancha is the largest level of akusala accumulation. Okay. Now think about when you have greed, when you have jealousy, when you have anger. Your anger will be conditioned with wrong view, craving, conceit, and then it will take you to the higher level of, perhaps the highest level of that akusala experience. When that thought goes to that higher level of akusala experience, we call it papancha. In this papancha experience, Buddha explains, actually true Venerable Mahakachana, I think, in the Madhupindika Sutta, 18, that Vedana matters, right? It is said that chakkuncha paticca rupecha uppajjati chakku viññāna. Now, he's using a basic sensory experience, eyes, and then rupa, sight, and then chakku viññāna, eye consciousness. When these three things get together, there is what we call spassa, contact. That means in this process of being papancha, proliferated, the Buddha is saying that passa places an important part. And once passa happens, then Vedana kicks in. And then the Buddha said, yang vedeti tang sanjanati. When someone experiences a feeling with regard to that previous experience, at that point, the person perceives. That means vedeti sanjanati. What do you call? Feeling, emotion. Emotion is followed. Every feeling is followed by emotion. Not even that. It's a very big process. Yang sanjanati tang vitakketi. When someone perceives any feeling, at that point, the person is going to rationalize it, right? I want it. Even though my family would not agree with me, even my religion, my philosophy, other people would disagree with me, I really want it. I'm very sure that I want, right? So you rationalize. Sometimes it is akusala. That's why the Buddha said, when you create sanya, you immediately rationalize. Yang vitakketi tam papancheti. The moment that you rationalize as a result of this whole experience, you start to proliferate. Atita, anagata, vartamana, pachuppanna sides. What do you call past, present, future, group objects. Past, present, future, sound objects. Past, present, future, smell objects. Past, present, future, taste objects. Past, present, future, touch objects. past, present, future thought objects. And nobody can stop you at that point. You are so adamant about this thing. That's why I'm trying to again say, in the process of papancha, proliferation also, Vedana places a high emphasis. The Buddha has put a high emphasis on Vedana. So that means you need to properly understand your Vedana. That is why Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta clearly tells us that being able to be aware about different feelings, basically speaking 9 feelings will help us to be aware about our feelings. And then that will help us to manage our kusala experiences and not to get dragged out by akusala experiences. Okay, I think this introduction is enough. Otherwise, it will go more and more, longer and longer. So now let's go to the text here. Vedanānupassanā, 9 ways of attending to the nature of feelings. So what I'm asking you here is that when you want to learn about Vedanānupassanā, what you need to think about is that I need to understand the nature of 9 feelings that might come to me at different times. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are those feelings as Satipaṭṭhāna exercises. Okay, may I ask someone to read from 2, 2.1, and all these bold face states for us. Perhaps I will ask the first one to read until 4. Okay. Can you please raise your virtual hand if you would like to read? Anybody? Yeah, don't think 2 times, 2, 3 times. Just read it. If you are sure about your Pali, you don't have to wait for it. Just go for it. Anybody? Yes. Okay, we have 2. So first, who are the 2? Kim and who's the other one?
Oh, Bhante, now my
okay.
Kim,
Can go ahead, no problem.
now my Kim, you go ahead, Bhante. Let
No,
Sister Kim.
No, I mind. I'll give you the second part.
Okay, Sister Kim, you go ahead.
Right.
Thank
Yes.
you.
It will read from 2 until 4. Yes. Yes.
2 until 4.
4. Yes.
Vedanānupassanā Satipaṭṭhāna. Katanca bhikkhave bhikkhu vidanasu vidananupassi viharati. Sukha vedana, sukhang vedanang vediyamano, sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. Dukkha vedanang vediyamano, dukkang vedanang vadiyamiti pajanati. Adukkhama sukhang vedanang vediyamano, adukkhama sukhang vedanang vediyamiti. Samisang va sukhang vedanang vediyamano, samisang sukhang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati.
Okay, great. And
Thank
then,
you, Bhante.
yes, Pochu Wong will start from here, 5th one, until 9. Yes, last one. Yes.
From 5 to 9,
5 to
Bhante.
9. Yeah, it's not a very long area. Don't worry. Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll try. Niramisa Sukha. Niramisang va sukhang vedana vediyamano. Niramisang sukhang vedanang Vediyamiti Bhajanati. Samisa dukkha. Samisam va dukkhang vedanang vediyamano. Samisam dukkhang vedanang vediyamiti bhajanati. 7. Niramisa dukkha. Niramisam va dukkhang vedanang vediyamano. Niramisam dukkhang vedanang vediyamiti bhajanati. 8. Samisa adukkha masukha.
Adukka masuka.
Sorry, Bhante.
Samisangva adukka masuka.
Samisa adukkha masukha. Is that correct? Sorry, my hearing a bit from Samisam kwa adukkha masukhang vedanang vediyamano. Samisam adukkha masukhang vedanang vediyamiti bhajanati. 9. Niramisa adukkha masukha. Niramisang va adukkha masukhang vedanang vediyamano. Niramisang adukkha masukhang vedanang vediyamiti bhajanati.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, the rest is very familiar with us, so we don't have to read that part. I'm going to go back now, the first one. Now, can we understand these feelings in our life at this point? Okay, number 1. Sukha Vedana. Now, you might have a little bit of a question here, curious question. What is the difference between Sukha Vedana, Samisa Sukha Vedana, right? How to distinguish between these two? Of course, when I am going through my Sukha Vedana, that is depending on my sensual experience, right? What could be the difference? There is a difference. Let's see. Sukha Vedana, I put it as basic, ordinary, or default pleasant feeling. Right? Now, how does someone practice this Sukha Vedana in his or her life? Is that when experiencing a pleasant feeling, she completely understands, I feel a pleasant feeling. Have you done that in your life? When you were happy, were you able to understand that you are happy? There are people, even when they are happy, they are complaining a lot, Food is good, but there's a but coming up all the time, So people are looking at that person, right? Why? Maybe the way how that person looks at it. That means that person's happiness could be a little different, right? Now here, when we say sukha, please keep in mind, this sukha is both physical and mental sukha. Okay? Not even the physical sukha. Like when the Buddha talks about dukkha, he also talks about dukkha, domanassa together, right? Dukkha is physical pain. Domanassa is mental pain, right? Now here when we say sukha, when we go through a happy feeling, if we can completely understand that I am happy now, that is a Vedanānupassanā Satipaṭṭhāna. But unfortunately, what is happening to many people is that they are not able to capture that state of mind at that time because they have too many emotions about that feeling, isn't it? Their mind doesn't tell them you should be happy now. No, I'm not going to be happy. It's still not perfect. So emotions are taking that happiness away. That means we are not able to see that default ordinary happiness. But some people may be able to see it, feel it, completely understand. But majority, most people, driven by what's happening in their life, attention, things, social media, and maybe their family, friend circle, their past, their trauma, because of all these experiences, they may not be able to, they might not have been able to get into that, maybe to completely understand that happiness. Sometimes they are going through the happiness, but they are not able to completely understand that they are happy. Have you gone through that experience? Your body is happy actually, but mentally you don't accept that happiness. Has that happened to you? If that didn't happen to you, hadn't happened to you, you would have not learned Satipaṭṭhāna, Vedanānupassanā. Definitely. That's why you are learning Vedanānupassanā today. That means our body is sometimes happy, but we don't accept that through our emotions, perceptions, right? That's why the Buddha is saying, if we can truly understand what is going through in my happy feeling, that could be a Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Normally we look for the happy feelings. But now, once again, as I explained in the Kayanupassana, I said, normally people want to look good in their body. But then the Buddha said, okay, if you really want to be happy longer, use your body to be mindful. Right? Use the body to be mindful. That is called Kayanupassana. If you truly want to be happier, use your feeling to be happy, not look for the feelings. Now, what is happening in our life from morning to evening? Are we using our feeling to be happy, or are we looking for the happy feelings morning to evening? Huh? I think we are looking for the happy feelings, right? And we are trying to avoid the unhappy feelings. That is itself our dukkha every day, right? When we are into that pursuit of looking for the better feelings and to avoid unhappiness, that itself is our worry in our life, our unhappiness in life. Even though you learn a lot of Buddhist things, you will never become happy. Why? You are looking for the better feelings, right? When you are able to see what feelings are coming to you, you will immediately become happy, right? You don't have to look for it. So now, the first Vedanānupassanā exercise is that whenever you go through happiness, try to look at it. The moment you look at it, you will become happy, mindful and happy. I have given some vague examples. There could be much better things. You drink your first warm coffee in the morning and feel a gentle sense of comfort. Perhaps you might not look at it in a very different way. This is every day I'm having this coffee, my tea. There's nothing to be extra happy, but that is a basic, ordinary happiness with regard to your daily chores, right? But the most important thing is being able to look at it during the time. And second, dukkha vedana. Dukkha vedana means when experiencing a painful feeling, she completely understands the pain, right? Have we been able to understand those painful states? Or when we go through the painful feeling, we were trying to be taken away by emotions with regard to that painful situation. What may have happened to us in our painful experiences in our life? Normally, when we go through painful feelings, more than the feeling, we are troubled by the emotions that were conditioned about that particular event, right? So, but when we start allowing us to see the pain, that could be a different way to respond to the pain. And the other thing is that now we have to discuss that part too, even with regard to the Sukha Vedana. When we are happy, we are also bringing lots of Lobha, Dosa, Moha into that Sukha experience too. That is another problem, right? And we have to Always be careful with regard to that. And when we were going through Vedana, we will also bring dosa, hatred, anger towards that dosa feeling. But the Buddha said, you don't have to bring all these things. Just see the pain. Just see the happiness. That is enough. That will become your Vedanānupassanā, first two experiences. And what about the third? Adukkha Masukha Vedana. Adukkha Masukha means neither pleasant nor painful feeling. You sit in your chair during work and feel neither comfort nor discomfort. That's ordinary. Do we use certain phrases in our life to say that I'm not happy or unhappy? I'm just feeling normal, right? People used to say that I'm normal. I feel normal. I don't feel something extraordinary. I don't feel something super bad, right? So adukkha masukha means that kind of a feeling, right? So whenever we go through the normal experiences, nothing extraordinary or very much less ordinary, we also need to look at that experience, that normal situation, normal experience. Then we will be able to make it a Vedanānupassanā practice. And then this part is very interesting. Now we discuss about the first three. May I know, why did the Buddha mention Samisa and Niramisa here in the Vedanānupassanā structure? What is Samisa? What is Amisa actually? That's the real Pali word. I'm going to send to you, to your chat, Amisa. Have you heard this Pali word before? Amisa? Amisa?
Amisadana.
Amisa dana. It's a dana also, right? What are the other contexts of Amisa? Amisa puja. It's a puja also. Amisa dana. Amisa puja. Amisa puja and Patipatti puja. These are two puja that we do, right? Then what is Amisa? Amisa means material things, right? Material things. Then the Buddha is trying to separate out the basic three feelings from little bit advanced kind of feelings now. Now here Samisa means wordly, I would say, you can pinpoint a source to that feeling. Now, compared to the first three basic feelings can arise without a source sometimes, right? But Samisa or Niramisa, what is the Niramisa? If Samisa is material things, Niramisa means?
Non-sensual.
Non-sensual is one way some people translate. But if you look at what is Niramisa means, renunciation. What is the happiness when we renounce, when we let go things? That is a very interesting happiness, right? So that means the Buddha is saying, when we are when we are depending on material things, we go through happiness, we go through pain, we go through neutrality. Also, when we are letting go, when we are renouncing certain things in our life, depending on how we go through, we also go through in those moments of nekkhamma, actually. It's called nekkhamma, renunciation. Happy nekkhamma, painful nekkhamma, and neutral nekkhamma. That is how we're going to separate out the rest of the six feelings. Three from the, material things, coming from material things. Other three coming from renunciation, nekkhamma. Let us take a look at how it works. First, Samisa Sukha, pleasant feeling in regard to material things, six pleasure. I think this is not a new thing to all of us, but we will see it here. When experiencing a pleasant feeling in regard to six sensual pleasures with specific sources, I added this in particular, she completely understand. I feel a sensual, pleasant feeling. You bite into your favorite uh, dessert and feel immediate enjoyment from taste and sweetness. Can we think about this dessert experience? Now, when we say you have a favorite dessert, what does it mean? Have you had it earlier or not? You must have had it
Yes,
earlier, right?
earlier, yes, earlier,
Ah,
Bhante.
that experience is there now. That means your
Mhm.
feeling has been taken over by emotions already for you to enjoy samisa sukha vedana, right? Think about you travel to a certain place in your life, country, city, wherever, right? Then you may have made a specific beautiful feeling about the place and you may call it, oh, I got deja vu feeling and all that. But anyways, I like to go to that place. Maybe I like people over there. I like the culture, maybe the food, maybe some other things. That means, and in order for samisa sukha to arise, there might need a previous exposure to the source. Do we have it in sansaric life? Have you ever met somebody who might be saying, you look very familiar to me. I feel I know you, but we haven't met actually. There are scammers too, right? Be careful, right? There are scammers who are making that too. You look familiar to me. Yes, in the scamming. We are talking sansara, okay? You look familiar to our ideas match. I think we cross our path. What does it mean? We must have had a sansaric experience, exposure before. That's why we're becoming very much crossing our paths. Right? Think about us now. You are learning here, right? Maybe we must have definitely had met in previous samsaric life, learning some dhamma, right? And we are continuing that experience now, right? So then, in order for samisa sukha vedana to arise, there may need a certain previous exposure. Now, in the desert experience, let's say someone may have had a certain dessert and now one knows the source properly, going back to the place, maybe want to try out different places about the same dessert. So this is samisa sukha vedana. So anything that is regarding your previous experiences with regard to feeling has become an emotion at that point. Sanya could be samisa sukha vedana. Now we will talk about the renunciation part, nekkamma kind of happiness, niramisa sukha. When experiencing a pleasant feeling in regard to renunciation, she completely understands. I feel a non-sensual pleasant feeling. Example, you decide not to respond to a hurtful message, even though you feel triggered. Later in the day, you notice a gentle inner joy, the lightness of not creating conflict, not being driven by anger, and knowing you protected your peace. Niramisa Sukha. Have you gone through this experience in your life? It doesn't need to be a message, maybe even a physical encounter with someone, and you decided that you would not react. You would respond by being silent for the rest of the day. I mind about my speech. I mind about my day. I don't want to say anything at this point. At that point, you were driven by that reaction to react, but with lots of Dhamma understanding, you try to state behind that particular reaction. But later on the day, you feel, oh, what I had done is not something normal. It's such a very big activity. If I had opened my mouth at that point, I even don't know what could have happened at that point. It's a niramis. You let go the reaction part. Now you are enjoying niramis, sukha vedana. I think you can think about a lot of examples. Think about temptations, right? Let's say you go to do some of the shopping stuff, right? Right. You want to go shop and you went to do some shopping. But when you go shopping, more than what you want to buy, the things that you wrote down, that you imagine from house, you will see a lot of other things and you feel tempted to buy those things, right? And then, but you summon your courage. I don't want to buy all these things. Maybe I try to buy what I wanted to buy. Maybe I even don't want to buy that one too. That is not necessary for today. And you come back home. That was a very difficult, challenging situation. But when you come back home, you spend the rest of the day. What happened and what you did during that shopping experience will pop up in your mind that you didn't buy. Now you're looking at it as a introspection and feel, wow, I didn't know that how good I can be at that point during my shopping spree and experience. You are having a very happy feeling due to your renunciation, due to your letting go, come away. That is called Samisa Sukha. Now we will go to the, Niramisa Sukha. Now we will go to the Dukkha part here. Samisa Dukkha. Now this Dukkha arises because of our enjoyment of any of the pleasures, right? When experiencing a painful feeling in regard to the six sensual pleasures with specific sources. Without specific sources, it will become a dukkha vedana, second one. But with specific sources, it will become a samisa dukkha. She completely understands. I feel a sensual, painful feeling. Example, you smell something rotten or hear someone shout harshly at you and feel discomfort or hurt, or you drop your new phone and feel a painful or no sensibility loss. I think this is something very specific with regard to our daily life, with regard to our sudden frustrations, where we can pinpoint a source. What is more interesting is Niramisa Dukkha Vedana. Have you ever thought that people, when they let go, that they even can go through the pain? The Buddha here mentioned in the Vedanānupassanā, even the people who let go may sometimes go through a dukkha vedana. We will see that. Niramisa dukkha. When experiencing a painful feeling in regard to nekkhamma renunciation, she completely understands. I feel a non-sensual, painful feeling. Example, you stop scrolling social media at night and go to bed early to develop discipline. For a few nights, you feel restless, bored, uncomfortable because your mind misses stimulation. This discomfort is not harmful. It comes from withdrawing from craving. Now think about if you go for a digital fast for certain times, right? It might be very difficult for some of, or maybe many of the people. Don't talk about the young teenagers. They might have a very hard time. I mean, think about somebody who is trying to let go of too much browsing, scrolling up and down on these XYZ social media at night. I want to think about something much better. Maybe I don't want to keep up with all these things. I want to sleep. And you make your time to sleep like that. But the first couple of weeks, it will be very hard for you to do that because I should read it, I should watch it, right? And then until you come to the point that you feel comfortable about that nekkhamma you did willingly or unwillingly, you may go through kind of a pain. That pain is called pain that may come from nekkhamma, niramisa vedana, niramisa dukkha vedana, right? I think you may have gone through niramisa dukkha vedana in some of the retreats, when the retreat is so like harsh, right? Think about someone who is asked not to bring even the deodorants, what do you call, all your cosmetic stuff, even the basic stuff. You can't bring any of these things. How to survive for 1 week, right? Maybe 2 days without all these things. It might be a good idea one day if I can let go all that, but in order to get to that point, people might struggle. That might be a Vedana arising from Nekkhamma, right? We call it Niramisa Dukkha Vedana. Now we will go to neutral Vedana on both sides, Samisa, Niramisa. Samisa Adukka Masuka, neutral feeling in regard to sensual pleasures. When experiencing a neutral feeling in regard to the pleasures with specific sources, she completely understands. I feel a sensual neutral feeling. Example, you hear a sound in the background, air conditioning or distant traffic that doesn't feel good or bad, or you touch an object that is neither warm nor cold. Now, the difference between the neutral feeling, basic neutral feeling, and this neutral feeling is that in this neutral feeling, you can refer to a source. You know the specific source, you know the traffic, but you are neutral about it, right? The third one, the basic neutral feeling has no particular substantial source. It is just a neutrality. But here you have a tangible, perhaps, source that you can refer to. That's why it becomes Samisa Adukka Masuka. And then final one, Niramisa Adukka Masuka. Even the people who have let go, renounced, they go through Adukka Masuka. When experiencing a neutral feeling in regard to renunciation, she completely understands. I feel a non-sensual neutral feeling. This is about the food reflection. You chose simple food instead of indulging. You are not excited or suffering, just quietly okay. There is contentment without craving, the absence of emotional drama. If we look at about the state of mind of enlightened beings, okay, Arahants, Pacceka Buddhas, and Samma Sambuddhas, what they have is Niramisa Adukka Masuka, right? Now, what is the feeling of enlightened beings with regard to happiness, unhappiness? May I know?
Equanimous, equanimity.
Upekka, right?
Yeah.
They are having upekka, right? Let's say a devotee is going to offer a lot of dana to the Buddha. Buddha is not over delighted, over enjoyed about that thing, right? Like we see in many examples. At the same time, when the devotees don't take care of the Buddha, not being able to give the requisites so willingly or unwillingly, even at that point, the Buddha is not overly feeling down. What happened in the Virancha? Even there was no dana, right? Virancha couldn't even give dana, but Buddha was in the same mindset. That means our enlightened people's mindset is always upekka. Their functional state of mind is, feeling is upekka. Actually, in our life too, if we really want to be happy, longer, not just for a day, right? Not just in a certain program, a Buddhist event program, not just in a certain material program. We have to always cultivate upekka in addition to especially your lay people activities. Now think about, your son is going to stand out in his class, and then he is going to show the report card or whatever. Mom, look at my report card. No, I have upekka, just upekka. No, I stood out in the class. Are you not happy for me? Right? That's why lay people have to understand this carefully, because they have to complement. Think about, your other half is wearing something newer, a new clothes, maybe a new hairstyle, and then you don't notice it because you are saying, you don't notice what I'm wearing today? I have upekka, I don't have to specifically look at you and give a compliment. There will be problems that might arise. You will notice that. You will maintain your lay life, but you know what could be the better state of feeling in my life if I want to practice, if I want to keep it all the time, is try to practice some amount of upekka. This Niramisa Adukka Masuka is definitely that upekka, right? Because And that upekkha and neutrality are two things. What is neutrality? There are people who are not giving anything, right? Any comment, any compliment, right? When you ask them, no comments. Yes. No comments, right? But as a Buddhist, you will do a holistic comment. You don't take sides of anybody. That's the beauty of a Buddhist, right? You just try to be factual, but you also understand if I talk like this and this way, there may be problems. So I have to be careful. But I always have upekkha when I talk. I know how to balance out, how to talk in that. So these are the 9 feelings that we have to be able to watchful when they are arising in our life at different moments. So every time when I am with Samisa Sukha, I should be able to see my Samisa Sukha. Every time I come up with Niramisa Sukha, letting go of a certain bad habit or something, I should be able to see what you call head on. Okay, normally people don't look at suffering head on. People don't look at happiness head on. Whenever 9 types of happy, unhappy, neutral, or worldly happy, unhappy, neutral, or renunciation, nekkhamma based happy, unhappy, neutral feelings come up, we should be able to see them head on. That is what Vedanānupassanā is all about. Okay, and then we will take a look at the rest very briefly before we get to the questions. Here, the same recurring phrase pops up here. You can see when you are watchful about any of those feelings, then at the same time, you should be able to see it internally, externally. What is internally and externally with regard to Vedana? When I go through a happy feeling, I also have to understand that other people also can go through this happy feeling. I want to be very, what you call, altruistic for other people too. I want you to be happy too, right? Right. So that is what we understand by internal, external. And then we also have to understand the origination or origin of our feeling and how does a feeling go away. Why do we have feelings? Because we have 5 aggregates, right? That's why we have Vedana Khandha. Otherwise, we don't have a Vedana Khandha. We look at it that way. And then we are practicing mindfulness to the point of understanding, completely understanding these individual 9 feelings. At that point, what will happen to us is that normally when feelings come to us, we are driven by those feelings and we are taken away by those feelings. But now, with understanding about 9 types of feelings, we are trying to dissociate from them. We try to understand that feeling is not me. And I understand feeling as a part of Panchakanda. I can separate out feeling. Earlier, when I was happy, I was happy. And I'm making it so substantially. But now, after understanding Vedanānupassanā, it's not I am happy. This Panchakanda, when it comes to conditions, this Panchakanda, feeling as a part of Panchakanda may go through happiness. When, as a condition, Vedana becomes painful, that Vedana can go through the painful feeling, and not that I am not happy, right? In this way, the person or yogi, yogini, or anybody like you will understand that there is a feeling, not that I am the feeling or I was hurt. So in this way, you are trying to, finally you can see, nacha kinchi loke upadid. You are not grasping at anything because of the Panchakanda, because you particularly understand Vedana under this context. All right, we will take this note first, emotion versus feeling. This is interesting. Emotional literacy begins with feeling literacy. Modern psychology teaches name it to tame it. The Buddha teaches the same, recognizing the exact feeling at the moment it arises weakens blind reactions. That's a very good observation. By learning to distinguish sukha, dukkha, adukkama sukha, samisa sukha, samisa dukkha, samisa adukkama sukha, niramisa sukha, niramisa dukkha, niramisa adukkama sukha, the practitioner, like you, we all become fluent in the language of internal feeling experience, preventing small sensations from escalating into full emotional storm. The rest of the things you will be reading, but I will discuss a little bit about this. Now we know when we were very small time, we were not able to express our feelings, right? Were we able to express our feelings?
No,
Right?
Bhante, no.
That's the thing. Sometimes we, I mean, especially babies, especially children, they are not able to express, right? And they have to learn it. Teachers are going to teach them. Parents are going to teach them. Right? Sometimes even abuse also can happen when we don't understand our own feelings. That's why the Buddha says language may not be the best way to understand feeling, but still language is a good source of understanding our feelings. Sukha, dukkha, adukkama sukha, samisa, sukha, dukkha, dukkama sukha, niramisa, sukha, dukkha, dukkha. When we are able to name it, that will help us to calibrate process that only Vedana exists and not that I am with Vedana, right? I understand Vedana separately and I'm not trying to attach it to myself. So that is the beautiful thing that happens here. All right, so now we will get into Q&A for a few minutes before we wrap this up. Any questions for today, Vedanānupassanā? Please raise your virtual hand. Yes, Jenny, please.
Yeah, Bhante. Sorry, Bhante, I still don't quite get the difference between the first three feeling with the samisa category.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we will, I think we discussed a little bit, but I will make it more explained. Let's take the first one, sukha vedana, happy feeling, and samisa sukha vedana. Samasa sukha vedana means happy feeling with regard to sensual pleasures. Now, what we need to understand between the difference between the first and in this is happy feeling is very ordinary depending on the situation. Sometimes we don't need to based on a certain source to be happy. So the basic way is ordinary happiness is what we call sukha vedana. But samisa sukha vedana means if our happiness is arisen due to a certain source, I would say a very noticeable source going beyond the normal happiness, that is called samisa sukha vedana. And that also entails a certain behavior that we may have done with regard to that particular object too. Now, sukha vedana, it might be normal, but samisa sukha vedana could be something that I, like the desert experience, right? Like I pursue my desert experience now. But Sukha Vedana, it's not desert experience, it's just happiness, right? It's just the mere ordinary happiness versus the happiness I created in my life. Maybe I'm kind of stuck to. Yeah, I think that makes kind of sensible, right?
So, sorry. So meaning, we have to be mindful, of the sources of our feelings, whether it's the ordinary or the material or the renunciation.
No,
Is
I
that
don't
what
think
you're saying?
I don't think we have to be mindful about the sources according to this teaching. Yes, being able to be mindful about the sources, another Buddhist teaching. That's a overall Buddhist teaching. But according to Vedanānupassanā, what Buddha says is that um, not specifically be mindful about the source, but rather being able to completely understand what kind of feeling I go through during this time, or I went through before, I will go through in the future. Being able to understand that Vedana experience only. I mean, of course, ethical, huh? Of course, ethical feelings. Now, let's say there is a very good Dhamma practitioner. That Dhamma practitioner will go through all these 9. Sukha, dukkha, adukkha sukha, samisa sukha, dukkha, dukkha sukha, niramisa sukha, dukkha. I think, yeah. So definitely by understanding, by behaving in the sila, one may go through all these 9 feelings. Every time one goes through 9 feelings, one should be able to see what feeling that I'm going through at this point. Normally, we are not able to see. We are driven by that feeling and we are trying to show a different attitude to somebody about what I go through now. That is what is happening to all of us, mostly. But Buddha is asking, doesn't matter about the source of these feelings. As long as you are ethical, what matters is that are you able to understand what kind of feeling you are going to. What kind of feeling is 9 types of feelings, which the Buddha mentions here.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante, how do you apply this in the meditation?
Okay, meditation, what kind of meditation? Daily meditation or retreat? We have to look at it that way. What kind of meditation are you referring here?
Because every time you say like Satipaṭṭhāna, meditation.
Then I think you pointed a very interesting question to wrap this up actually. A lot of people think that meditation is a sitting practice. Now you will understand all these 7 Vedanānupassanā practices are feelings. You don't have to go to a temple to feel them. You are feeling all these feelings all the time. That means every time when you are walking, talking to someone, spending some time, traveling, you are having feelings. Every time when you can look at your feeling, what kind of feeling I am going through now, then that will become a meditation. Satipaṭṭhāna.
Thank you, Bhante.
Let's say you are eating food. Let's go back to the dessert experience, right? You are eating something that you really like to eat. Then what you should think at that point. I am now having a samisa sukha vedana, not the sukha vedana, samisa sukha vedana. Then what should I do? Yes, I will have it, but I don't need to develop any tanha with regard to lobha with regard to this thing. Right? But I just enjoy it. That's it. Maybe on the second day, you might feel, nah, I'm not going to go for those desserts anymore. Then you are having niramisa sukha vedana. But first day, you are having niramisa dukkha vedana. Very uncomfortable not to have that dessert. But after a couple of days, niramisa sukha vedana will come to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? We'll take one more question if you have. Otherwise, we will wrap this up. Until you come up with a question, let me tell you something. When you look at suttas about Vedana, in the Samyutta Nikaya, Buddha has given a whole range of suttas about Vedana Samyutta. Lots of suttas were given about Vedana. When you look at all these suttas, even suttas given by Arahant Sariputta about Vedana, Vedana Pariggaha and all that. What we understand is that depending on the person, Buddha categorized Vedana into different numbers. Sometimes it was 2 Vedana, sometimes it was 3 Vedana, right? In some suttas, Buddha talk about Sukha Dukkha. Some suttas, Sukha Dukkha Upekha. Some suttas, 9, like Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. I think I should be able to send a poster about that. All right, if there are no questions, so we will go wrap up this discussion at this point. May all the good karmas we be making today by learning about Vedanānupassanā be transferred to all departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idang mi ñāti nang hontu, sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam mi ñāti nang hontu, sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñāti nang hontu, sukhita hontu ñātayo. May Deva, Naga, Mahitika receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of you, all of us, for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety, and happiness. May Deva, Naga, Mahitika also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabideva anumodantu sambasang patti siddhya. Ittavata amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabi bhuta anumodantu sambasang patti siddhya. Ittavata amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabi satta anumodantu sambasang patti siddhya. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhantu Sasanam. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhantu Desanam. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhang Tumang Parang Chirang Rakhang Tutwan Sadati. Our Dhamma wish is to be surrounded with Kalyana Mittas, just like all of us. Maybe be able to be surrounded with more Kalyana Mittas at the same time. Maybe become Kalyana Mittas to as many sentient beings as we may in this samsaric journey till we attain Nibbana. Imina Punya Kammena Mami Bala Samagamu Satang Samagamu Hotu Yavanibbana Patya. Finally, may all the good karmas which we be making today by learning about the overall practices about Vedana with regard to Satipaṭṭhāna, 7 Satipaṭṭhāna practices about Vedana, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachāino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati samicchato. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Before we wrap up, I want to mention about Aliana for the uploading of the YouTube videos with her son Aaron. I think all our discussions have been uploaded as videos on YouTube. You may, if you want to go back and learn again, because every time you learn, you will learn new things. One day, one thing. If you go back and again learn, more things will be able to be understood. So thank you for all that. With that, everyone, may you have a pleasant good night. We'll be looking forward to seeing you on Friday, next Friday at the same time. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much,
Good night.
Bhante.
Thank you. Thank you. Sadhu, 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 Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu. Good night, everyone.